Hello, and today I'm going to be reviewing Fantastic Four, famous for its infamous, for its terribleness, and I'm gonna be honest, it's just as bad as I remember, if not worse, but whatever, doesn't matter. Well, I guess let's get into it.
Yeah, this is how it started way back in the day.
Well, so there's really not an interesting backstory to this movie. It's really just so bad. There's just nothing. There's just nothing to describe just how much I just don't like this movie. It's just bad. It's just so bad. But let's get into specifics now. Well, I'm happy that it's not as bad. Well, it is. It's worse than the one I reviewed yesterday, but that one had a kind of an excuse for why it was so bad. They only had a $1 million budget, and to be honest, that was probably because they spent that probably almost all of the money on like Johnny, like casting him, because he was like, he's not a huge actor, but like he was like pretty big, and he was definitely at the height of his popularity when that movie came out. So uh it probably went to casting him. I don't it's just this is just a bad just a bad movie. The uh well comparing it to the 1994 one, it's not. Well, I guess Victor, even though he's dumb, he is kind of like more, like he does have more of a reason to be the villain. Like he's just not the villain, like out of nowhere. Like he is kind of like his motivations make a little sense. They're still pretty dumb though. Still, they're still like pretty dumb though. But now the casting. Well, I think everyone actually kind of plays it pretty good, and I am actually a bit of. I think that Chris Evans plays Johnny Storm really well, but you know. Now, one complaint I do have for every Fantastic Four movie, but this one in particular, is that it's kind of frustrating the origins of Doctor Doom. First of all, in his, I love an adaptation where the comics are actually used, because like in all the movies, the thing is like the same. He like goes with them, or something happens like with the storm, and he becomes Doctor Doom. Like the same way that the Fantastic Four became Fantastic Four because of the storm. And that's how he got his powers. And that's like supposed to be the thing. And I guess everyone thought they were really clever and original, even though they've been doing this for a while now. But the actual origins of Doctor Doom was that he's the Prince of Latveria, and he had kind of studied in like dark magic, and he was so good at it that he became like one of the most powerful beings on Earth. And I think that's a better origin, to be honest. It's kind of amazing that there have been 3 Fantastic Four reboots and all of them have used the same, the same origin, but all of them were the wrong origin. But whatever. At least this DVD isn't a bootleg like my the one I reviewed yesterday. Now let's go through them one by one. We got 4 Fantastic Four people dudes. So let's start with the main guy, Mr. Fantastic, the most fantastic guy ever made, ever. I think. So, I mean, there's not nearly, he's kind of the most boring, he really doesn't have that much character. He's just kind of the smart guy. And he doesn't really have an arc, I guess. But let's address with him, because almost his entire character is built around the fact that him and Sue kind of were already in a relationship, and basically that's it. Like they were in a relationship. Then Jessica Alba, or I'm gonna call her the Invisible Woman. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, just was like, I guess Mr. Fantastic wasn't very good with commitment. I mean, we didn't really learn that much about it because there was like one conversation and I was just like, this is so bad, so I just zoned out for the entire thing. But like the most I could gather is just he just didn't really do commitment with him, or I mean with Invisible Woman. And now the main their relationship is not believable whatsoever. It's not like they have anything in common. They are completely different people, and I just hate them both a lot. I hate them both so much. I guess the arc was supposed to be that he didn't really want to do the commitment at the beginning, and now he wants to be committing, and it's like science has been taking over his thing, and now at the end he wants to be have he wants to fuck Jessica Alba because of her personality. I don't believe that. Look, I mean, maybe he did have an arc at one point. Maybe if there was a prequel, it'd be more interesting because, we get to see the falters in the relationship, which isn't kind of in the sequel, but I've seen the sequel, and, But, I mean, I guess that they were trying to say, he didn't want to do commitment, but he obviously wanted to do commitment ever since they came here. Ever since the beginning of the movie, he had wanted to marry, Sue Storm. He'd want to do that through the entire movie. So, the character arc is more or less non-existent, to be honest. He's just a blank, just science guy, so that the plot can be in motion, because, there's so now that brings me over to Jessica Alba as Susan Storm, aka the Invisible Woman. First of all, I think she should totally be named Mrs. Fantastic, or Miss Fantastic, or Ms. Fantastic, or something, because it just seems better, to be honest, because Rita and Sue are married, so but whatever. Her name's the Invisible Woman. By the way, very clever name. Right, guys? But Her character is completely terrible, and it sucks, and it's the worst. So, let's just skip her. No, I'm just kidding. But she's just unimaginably shallow. She doesn't understand anything about like how relationships work, and her entire character is kind of just there to like make it so people believe that Reed has an arc, even though even though he like totally doesn't. Even though I feel like she's played up as like the normal like love interest or whatever, but this is a Fantastic Four movie. We don't need the bland love interest like in Spider-Man or the Incredible Hulk, because we don't need that. We don't need that. Why would we need a love interest? Like, she's one of she's a quarter of the team, so she should act as good as all the other members. And it's dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb. And I hate her. I hate her character so much in this because she just is the worst. Also, can I address shortly the fact that she strips 3 times in this movie? Like, come on, really? Why? That's a little bad, right? I mean, who's even watching this movie, to be honest? I thought they were kind of aiming for a dumb action movie. Just people did Michael Bay direct this movie or something? Like, come on. I asked my dad about this, and like, she was like, oh, well, there's visible power. Well, maybe I would have been okay with it if she wasn't, an actual model. She wasn't played by a guy that models. So, I don't know. Johnny Storm, dumb. I guess he does have more of an arc than Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic, but he's still pretty dumb. He just acts like just like a jerk, like, all the time, and I'm supposed to feel sympathy for him. Like, I mean, we can have characters with character flaws. Like, think about it, like Iron Man. Iron Man was done perfectly. He's like super rich. He's such a jerk, but we relate to him. He thinks he's funny, mostly because of Robert Downey Jr.'s performance. But we relate to him. But just Chris Evans, I don't think doesn't play it as good as Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. But luckily, Chris Evans does play the Captain America better than than Dick Purcell, who's a terrible Captain America. From my review of Captain America from 1944, but whatever. This was, let's just say it's not a very good experience. And next is Michael Chiklis. By the way, I'm surprised nobody made a joke that his last name is Chiklis. Like, come on. But he's just like there. I guess he's really like shallow. Actually, no, he's not. His wife is really shallow. Like, oh, you find out your husband is a rock monster? Like, you wouldn't just, like, break up with him immediately. Like, that's kind of superficial. If I found out my wife was a rock monster, okay, I would at least talk to her before we broke up. And I probably wouldn't even break up. But if I were to, we would at least discuss it. We wouldn't just be like, oh, break up. Let's just break up because you look weird. You look bad. So I hate you now. That's dumb. But I am happy that the blind girl, I don't really have very many complaints about, except for the fact that she's not very memorable. To be honest, I can't remember her name. I honestly don't believe they've said her name in the movie because I don't remember her name. He's supposed to be like the protection of the guy, the main Mr. Fantastic and Doctor Doom's like, I want to kill him. So what I need to do is turn the dude, the rock monster guy, the Thing, into a normal guy. And he already wants to do that. So all I have to do is go and make this machine that turns into a normal guy work. And he is just like, cool. And then it works. And then they're in the middle of a fight, and he can't fight, obviously, because he's a normal guy now, and he's all like, cool. But then he's like, I want to fight. So then he becomes the rock monster again. No, they don't explain how. He just is. He's just a rock monster now. Again, back a rock monster. Or maybe they did explain it, but I was just so disinterested that I didn't even notice. But I honestly don't think that they did. I think that they were just like, oh, he's now a rock monster again, and he's super strong. Huh. Now, Doctor Doom, he is kind of interesting because, like, he's like the guy. He's like, he has a giant statue of himself. He owns, like, this Doctor Doom Corp or whatever. And he's just like, oh, I'm the doctor. I'm the Doctor now. I'm gonna, like, build this machine to go into space, okay? And their stocks plummet, so he really wants to kill Reed Richards because they're trying to stop him from becoming the most powerful being on Earth. And I believe his goal, his end game right here, is to rule the world. Great plan, by the way. Now, the way they stop him is especially dumb. This is like, just the last thing I'm going to say. I want to talk about what they do to stop him. They make Johnny Storm go supernova. I'm happy that they set this up, at least a little bit, so, like, we know. But he survives, and I'm a little mad about that, because you know that, first of all, the fact that Sue can hold the supernova, no, she can't. She cannot hold the supernova. It would have destroyed the Earth there. But the fact that there's anything left from the fact that he's in the middle of a literal dying star. Like, his body is made of metal, so he'd be able to withstand some bullets. But, like, you can't just throw a metal statue, like, throw the Thinker into the middle of an exploding star and expect it to just be just a little drippy, like, just melting. And then they shoot water at him, and he's, like, frozen. Now, his body's made of metal, he should still be able to move, but whatever, it doesn't matter, because maybe the metal, like, fused him together, or whatever. Then, he is in this crate going back to Latveria, and the board, like, it doesn't work, like, this electronic board that they're like, okay, you go back to Latveria, oh my gosh, this thing isn't working. I wonder if the guy with electric powers is doing this. Let's just see if this sets up a sequel. It did, sadly. But that's for a different time. This is one of the most frustrating movies. I don't even recommend watching it for, like, just a so bad it's good movie, because it's just really frustrating. It's not boring, I guess, but if you want to watch a shit show, I guess this is for you. So I'm going to rate it a 1 out of 10. Because I've only ever rated one movie a 1 out of 10. I'm pretty sure you know what it is, but I'm not going to tell you, just in case you don't. This movie sucks so don't watch it. Do not watch this movie. It's really bad. Like really bad. Just don't watch it.